What if the object gliding silently through our solar system isn't a comet at all, but something built something waiting? For months, astronomers have been tracking an object they call 3I Atlas, a name that sounds scientific but hides a far deeper mystery. The data didn't fit any known model. Its spin, its speed, its eerie, unexplainable stability. It ignored the solar wind like it was immune to the sun itself. Observatories from Hawaii to Chile began whispering that something was wrong. This wasn't behaving like rock or ice. NASA called for silence until further verification, but leaks happen fast in this age. What if that verification already happened, and what they found was so extraordinary it could rewrite how we define life, intelligence, and control of the stars themselves? The first anomaly appeared in trajectory simulations. Mathematicians fed the object's orbital data backward through time-expecting chaos, but what they found was precision razor sharp, unexplainable precision. Every adjustment, every gravitational tug from neighboring stars compensated perfectly. It wasn't a natural drift. It was choreography, like someone or something written its path long before humans existed. The deeper they ran the models, the stranger it became. Its route through interstellar space was smooth, deliberate, immune to random perturbations. One scientist described it as a dancer crossing a minefield without a single misstep. If that's true, then 3I Atlas didn't arrive here by chance. It was aimed, targeted, and maybe it's right where it was meant to be. When researchers traced its origin, the results sent quiet panic across private scientific channels. The simulations pointed to a sun almost identical to ours HD 43,782, a yellow-white star roughly 270 light-years away, orbiting a planet sitting perfectly inside its habitable zone. Its atmospheric data, captured years ago by the TESS and Kepler telescopes, showed something staggering: balanced traces of oxygen, methane, and carbon dioxide gases that rarely coexist unless life maintains them. For decades, those numbers were dismissed as coincidence. Now, with 3I Atlas heading straight from that region, the coincidence feels calculated. Imagine a civilization watching us from that mirror sun system, studying us through machines that drift for millennia. Could Atlas be their messenger, finally reaching the species that just learned how to listen? It's not the presence of life that terrifies scientists, it's the precision of motion. Natural bodies tumble, spin, and respond chaotically to solar pressure. 3I Atlas doesn't. Its rotation is stabilized like a spacecraft using gyroscopic control. Even more unnerving, micro-adjustments in its velocity match what engineers call thrust corrections, not random gas jets or solar heating effects controlled, intentional shifts. Every correction aligned perfectly with optimal gravitational slingshots toward the inner planets. The object behaves as if following a mission profile, like a probe running autonomous course code written eons ago. Instruments picked up faint electromagnetic fluctuations near 1.4 gigahertz, the frequency range deep space transmitters used to communicate across the void. Random? Maybe. But how many coincidences equal intent? When the object crossed Mars's orbital plane, something happened that changed everything. Its deceleration pattern shifted again, but this time it synchronized with Earth's position. Radio telescopes detected whisper-level pulses, binary sequences repeating at mathematically perfect intervals. At first, teams thought it was interference from satellites. Then, the same pattern appeared across observatories in Chile, Australia, and Spain. Identical timing, identical frequency, like an eye turning toward a voice. Some call it noise. Others call it the first deliberate signal ever received from beyond our world. But one haunting question lingers. If it truly is communicating, then who or what is listening on the other end? As the data spread quietly among research institutions, divisions formed. Some physicists insisted the signals were cosmic coincidenza, background resonance distorted by solar plasma. But others, those who studied the pulse intervals, claimed it was far too intentional. The binary spacing wasn't random. It matched prime number sequencing, something nature doesn't accidentally produce. SETI analysts tried decoding it and found symmetrical repetitions every 137 seconds, the same frequency hydrogen emits in interstellar communication experiments. Coincidence stacked on coincidence until the skeptical voices grew quieter. For the first time, the question wasn't what 3I Atlas was, it was who might have built it, and why it had chosen now, of all moments in human history, to enter our sky. Inside NASA's private communication channels, researchers began to reference something called the Bracewell scenario, an old theory suggesting that advanced civilizations might send autonomous probes to silently observe emerging species. They wouldn't reveal themselves immediately. They'd wait centuries if necessary until that civilization developed the technology to notice them. Only then would contact begin. 3I Atlas matched almost every predicted behavior: precise deceleration, alignment with the inner planets, narrowband transmissions in the hydrogen line. If this was a Bracewell probe, then it had been waiting for us. Some scientists proposed sending a reply signal, a mathematical greeting in binary. Others warned doing so might be reckless, broadcasting our presence to entities we can't possibly understand. The debate raged, but the object kept moving silent, deliberate, unstoppable. Then came the photographs. High-resolution imagery from the Solar and Heliospheric Observatory revealed faint geometric patterns along the object's surface, too regular to be natural, yet too eroded to identify. The patterns formed symmetrical grooves, spirals that seemed etched rather than fractured. Engineers proposed micrometeor impacts or crystalline layering, but when the images were enhanced, the grooves curved into repeating intervalsa pattern resembling numerals. The unsettling part? The spacing correlated with the same 137-second pulse in the radio data. It was as if the object's skin itself carried the same code it transmitted across space. If that's true, then 3I Atlas isn't just a traveler, it's a message written in both light and matter. But what language speaks through geometry and time? Political agencies took notice next. Within weeks, a quiet interagency task force formed NASA, ESA, JAXA, and a few unnamed entities rumored to be defense-related. The object's trajectory was projected to pass within observational range of Earth-based telescopes for less than a month. That window, they said, would decide everything. Debates erupted behind closed doors. Should humanity acknowledge its presence or remain silent? One camp argued for outreach's symbolic handshake with the cosmos. The other insisted we might be inviting an unknown intelligence to study us more closely. Whichever side was right, the silence from the object grew heavier, like a pause before a sentence that could change everything we know ab. And then, as if responding to our uncertainty, 3I Atlas slowed, again subtly, but unmistakably. Astronomers reported micro-adjustments consistent with controlled braking. It was behaving like something aware being observed. Radio bursts increased, short range and low energy, as though probing Earth's atmospheric boundaries. Amateur astronomers around the world began picking up the same narrowband frequencies using consumer equipment. The data was real, verifiable, and terrifyingly organized. It's listening, one researcher said during a leaked briefing, her voice shaking. And the longer we hesitate, the more it learns. Whether those words were literal or metaphorical didn't matter because the world was already reacting. Conspiracy boards exploded. Governments tightened secrecy. And for the first time in centuries, humanity stared upward, not with wonder but with fear. By the third week of continuous observation, the binary pulses began changing pattern. They weren't random bursts anymore, they evolved, shortening in duration but growing more complex. A linguist from MIT called it progressive compression, like data being condensed before transmission. Another scientist suggested it was testing us, altering frequency to gauge if we were still listening. Each variation repeated exactly 3 times, then stopped, as if awaiting acknowledgement. Some theorists believe this was an ancient protocol, a cosmic handshake request older than any living species. Others think it's scanning for a specific signal, something we've unknowingly already broadcast. And if that's true, then 3i Atlas might not be waiting for a greeting at all. It might be searching for a message that's already here on Earth. Then something almost cinematic happened. During a lunar alignment observation window, the object released a faint burst of reflected light, not random, but encoded in rhythmic intervals. Telescopes caught it simultaneously from 3 continents. Within hours, pattern analysis revealed the flashes mirrored our planet's rotation, period 24 hours and 3 minutes exactly. A mere reply. No one could explain it naturally. It wasn't a comet outgassing, not a solar reflection. It was an acknowledgement. It knows we're watching, whispered an ESA analyst during the debrief. The global response was immediate. Military satellites turned sensors toward the object. Intelligence agencies classified all transmissions, and independent astronomers were suddenly cut off from data streams. Something had changed, and for once, even the skeptics went quiet. Rooms, the public narrative shifted. Media outlets speculated, influencers guessed, and scientists refused to confirm or deny. A leaked fragment of internal communication described a phase transition, a term suggesting the object was entering a new operational mode. Was it preparing to leave or to begin? One physicist described its behavior as an engine waking up after a long sleep. Governments remained silent, but amateur skywatchers noticed the same thing. A low-frequency hum across narrowband receivers, pulsing faintly every hour, synchronized with global midnight. Theories exploded. Some claimed it was mapping, others said it was transmitting. But the question spreading through every conversation was the same. If this is a machine, what happens when it finishes its scan? Rise across Chile and Japan, teams notice a disturbing secondary pattern. Smaller objectiny, metallic fragments moving in formation behind 3i Atlas. At first they thought it was debris, but the trajectories were synchronized. 5, maybe 6, maintaining constant distance and velocity. When the main object adjusted course, the fragments followed perfectly, like escorts or drones protecting a mothership. The resemblance to swarm coordination was undeniable. Scientists are cautious, labeling them co-moving bodies. But among themselves, another phrase circulates as subprobes. If that's accurate, it means 3i Atlas isn't alone, and its purpose might not be simple observation. Every hour it remains here, humanity's uncertainty grows heavier. We might not just be watched, we might already be under study. And now, as it drifts between Earth and the Sun, the object has begun emitting steady broadband radiation, soft, rhythmic, hypnotic. Some say it's natural resonance. Others believe it's broadcasting. No one can agree. But there's one fact no longer debated. Its trajectory is changing again, bending toward the ecliptic plane directly toward Earth's orbital path. Whether it's coincidence or design, no scientist is ready to say. Perhaps it's preparing to depart after completing its mission. Or perhaps, after eons of silence, it's about to introduce itself. In the end, humanity faces the same haunting question our ancestors once whispered under ancient skies. When we finally meet the intelligence that built it, will it greet us as explorers or as subjects?